Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to a new episode of One Mic, where I watch shit so you don't have to. And today I'm here to talk about season 1, episode 6 of Mare of Easttown, entitled "Sore Must Be the Storm." So before I get started, I want to tell you guys my voice is a little messed up. I don't know, my throat got really dry over the weekend, and I guess it just worn down on my vocal cords. I barely could talk this morning, but I've had some tea, drank a lot of water, trying to get my vocal cords warmed up just for this video, because I was not about to not do a Mare of Easttown video, because I know you guys have been super supportive, dropping the comments and all that good stuff, and I was not about to leave you guys high and dry on the penultimate episode, so I decided to make sure that I got this video out today. So I'm not gonna talk as much or as loudly, but just be prepared. You know, my voice is gonna sound a little weird, probably gonna cough maybe a couple of times, I don't know, but bear with me. I'll try to make this as not as brief as possible, because I'm not going to skip over anything I want to cover, but just know that there might be some moments that are a little coffee. We'll put it that way. Coffee like me coughing, not coffee like the drink. So as usual, I kind of want to start by talking about the episode title. The title is called "Sore Must Be the Storm." So after watching the episode, I could not figure out for the life of me what that meant, because the title of it doesn't even make sense to me. Like, what does that mean? Sore, S-O-R-E, like when you're hurt. So I couldn't figure this out. So I Googled the phrase, and apparently it's a line from an Emily Dickinson poem, which I'm going to read, and then I'm going to talk about what it means and how I think it ties into the episode. So bear with me, I'm going to look off camera a little bit. So the poem's titled "Hope." It says, "Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me." So that's the entirety of the poem. The song is a song. The poem is essentially about comparing hope to a bird, and talking about like the various things that could come across in one's life that could affect or impact that hope. The line that says, "And sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird." Essentially, that sounds like to me that the storm or things that could happen that could abash the little bird, aka dampen your hope. The "sore must be the storm" part is like basically, I think, saying essentially things would have to be really fucked up for this bird to lose its hope. So I kind of look at the poem as about being about perseverance. And in this episode, we do see things kind of come together for Mare after all that she's been through. Because you think about it, her history with Frank, the divorce, the situation with Kevin, the suicide, Siobhan and her behavior since Kevin's suicide, which great scene, by the way, in this episode where she says, you should have found him. I thought that was a really powerful scene. Everything with, geez, I'm forgetting the name now. Let's see, I mentioned Frank. Oh, Drew and his mother. Everything with Drew and his mother. Colin having been killed. All of these things are essentially, to me, the "sore must be the storm," things that have happened to Mare that could impact or dampen her hope. And we see her break down very briefly in this episode, and I found that scene to be very powerful. It's probably my favorite scene of the episode, because that's something that, I don't know about you guys, but I can relate to that. The idea of, you put on this tough exterior and this happy face when things are going on in your life that sometimes you want to just break down and be like, I don't want to deal with this or whatever. And you're forced to persevere and you're forced to push through. And sometimes things can get so heavy and they can weigh on you so hard that you break down. And I know what that feels like, to feel like you've had to tough things out. And then finally you just can't do it anymore. And it might be just that brief moment, like that cry for her was, I mean, they cut the scene, but that cry for her was only a couple of seconds. Granted, that could have, lasted for hours, but that breakdown might be brief, and then you're just like, okay, I needed to get that off my chest or get that out of my heart or out of my soul, and now I can go back to living. or maybe that breakdown lasts a little bit longer and it impacts you. But I think the whole point of this is that, Mare has obviously seen a lot of this storm, a very sore storm that Mare has experienced throughout her life. We got about her dad's suicide and this tendency that there seems to exist in these connections between her father killing himself, Kevin killing himself, and now Drew showing some of the same mannerisms. So much that Mare has to carry in this burden, this sore storm. And I think that her continuing to push through, continuing to not give up, despite the heroin planting situation, which was not a good look. But I think that's just showing that she is not giving up hope, and I think that's starting to reward her a little bit. She found the locket, she found the clothes. She was able to match the reunion shirt with the locket. Like, she's piecing everything together. And granted, when these kind of things happen, I think you need some luck on your side to get there. But Mare's continued to push through, and I think that's kind of what the episode title is about. That despite how sore her storm has been, and we see her talk to the therapist voluntarily. By the way, the therapist said that she didn't have to do this anymore, and she showed up anyway. So. As sore as her storm has been, Mare has continued to push through, and now she has successfully returned Katie Bailey, and now she seems to be on the cusp of solving Aaron McMenamin's murder. So I think that's what the episode title is about. If you guys have any different feelings or additional feelings or thoughts, please leave them in the comments. I think some of you who are now regulars here on these videos know that we get to talking in the comments. So let me know what you think about what I said about the episode title. I didn't mean to spend this much time on it, but I think it's important to look at these episode titles on a lot of these shows and see what the creators are trying to tell you about what you should be taking away from these episodes. So really good stuff there. So the other thing that I want to talk about, because there's not really too much. I have a couple of notes, like little bullet points, but I think everything that happened in this episode was kind of meant to funnel us into this acceptance that Billy killed Aaron. And I've had people who have commented on these videos. I think maybe even episode 1 or 2, like the video for that. If you look in the comments, I think there's somebody there who says that they think it was Billy. And I don't feel like there's been any evidence for someone to accurately guess in the first 2 episodes that it was Billy. I remember when somebody put that in there, I'm like, who the fuck is Billy? I don't even know who that is. Like, I didn't even know this character's name yet. So I've heard that there are people who have kind of like inside connections to Hollywood and these sort of like mystery box shows where, they might know who it is. And then they anonymously go on the internet and give that information away to essentially earn internet points. I'm not accusing anybody in my comments of that, but I wonder sometimes did I miss something in episodes 1 or 2 that suggested it should have been Billy? Did Billy, like again, I didn't even know who Billy was. Like, I could not have told you that character's name in the first 2 episodes, but I'm very curious as to how people came to that conclusion after the first 2 episodes. My throat is starting to get a little dry from talking. But I'm wondering how people came to that conclusion after the first 2 episodes. I didn't see anything there, but again, if you're one of the people who felt like it was Billy from jump, I'm gonna hold off on congratulations, and I'll tell you in a moment why. But if you thought it was Billy from the jump, I'd love to hear why you thought that. Like, what put you in that direction? Because when I gave my Richard theory, which again, I am still not getting away from that. And trust me, this isn't me being what's that term? I'm not in denial. Yes, I'm not in denial about my Richard theory. I still have reasons for thinking that Richard might be at least involved, but I do still have questions about Billy. So if you're one of those people that thought it was Billy from jump, let me know in the comments how you arrived at that so early in the show. Anyway, fast forwarding to this episode, a lot of things happen in this episode that tell us it's Billy. The most important of which, Billy confesses to it. But there's so much going on there, and there's a whole lot going on with John that are super duper red flags to me. So going back to, I think last week, somebody mentioned, was it something about John? There was something about John or Billy that someone mentioned that kind of like just made me have a little bit of keeping a little bit of a sharper eye on John. And, I think it was, back when John supposedly had this secret with Ryan, I think a lot of us thought and were meant to think that this had something to do with the murder, like John had some sort of involvement. And then it comes to find out that Ryan said it was the cheating. And I think that was what happened, is that in the comments of last week, somebody raised the point that maybe Ryan wasn't being honest about what their secret was. And that has stuck with me. And I think we see that at play in this episode. So we see Billy, well, we hear Billy confess. John and Billy's father says that he saw Billy cleaning off clothes and he was all bloody, putting bloody clothes in a washing machine. We know that the locket that Aaron has the same date as a reunion that Aaron went to, and that her and Kenny stayed in Billy's cabin during that time. And what else did we find out? Again, Billy confesses to it. And then there's all the things we've seen of Billy before, like him getting nervous when this conversation came up with Aaron living with him for a while. We see, the gun. So we find out from some FBI forensics guy, I don't know what his job was, but he said that based on the rotation of the bullet or something like that, that it only came out of a certain type of gun, like an older gun that was police issue, that hasn't been made since 1995. So it's out of production. So it's an old pistol. So we see that old pistol in John's tackle box. We see John acting very questionably when talking about his the cheating situation, because he comes in, the father says, he says, Lori accused me of cheating, and he says, did she accuse you or did you do it? And he just kind of like, he doesn't say anything. I think there was a slight nod there. And I wonder, basically I'm starting to wonder if John did this, and essentially he is kind of like the alpha of their family, and John did this. Billy is covering it up for him. Like maybe Billy helped him get rid of Aaron's clothes. Like that was probably Aaron's clothes. Maybe he was putting in the wash, or John's clothes he was putting in the wash. It was his own clothes, but maybe he helped John with this. I know something just doesn't quite add up with it being Billy yet. And there's way too much questionable behavior from John that's making me wonder if John did this and Billy's involved in the cover up. And this whole thing of like Billy confessing to having done it is essentially John saying, they're kind of on to you, so you're going to have to take the rap for this. And as a thank you, let's go fishing. And I'm wondering if that's where it goes. And then he has the gun for maybe the purposes of maybe using it to maybe get Billy's prints on it. Here's the murder weapon. It's got Billy's prints on it. Make it look worse. I don't imagine necessarily that he plans on killing Billy, but I think it's more of a situation where he wants Billy to be tied to that gun in some way. But then I wonder too, what is Dylan and Jess's involvement in this? Why did they take these journals? Who's on that picture? I'll tell you who I don't think it is. Billy. I can't get on to the Billy. It's so obvious, and there's so many other things that are questionable and that have arisen that are making me think I just feel like Billy just doesn't even seem like he has it all together. And he looks to me like somebody who is dealing with his own sore storm, where he's dealing with the fact that he's taking a rap for maybe something he didn't do. He knows it looks bad for him. He's not cut out for this. And John's just smooth going through it. Like, okay, this is what we're going to do, yada, yada, yada. He seems really cool about it. We know that also, Lori mentioned that when John cheated the first time, there were all kinds of signs, and she felt it. And then she's like, I didn't feel anything with this one. And I wrote that down like, I'm telling you, I don't know about this Billy. I don't know about this cheating thing. That's what initially threw me off. I'm like, I don't know if he really cheated on her. I think it might just be a situation where you're taking something that makes you look bad, and you're willing to cop to that. You're willing to say, I did this thing that makes me look bad because you're covering up something worse. Game of Thrones utilized the same thing. I'm not going to spoil it in case anybody watching this hasn't seen Game of Thrones, but Ned Stark does the same thing. He cops to something that makes him look bad in order to cover up something that is, I don't want to say worse, but in order to cover up something that's more important than dealing with the fact that he looks bad. So I just think there are too many clues not clues, but reasons to question whether or not it was Billy, and to question if John was involved in some sort of way. And we still need to find out about, again, what is Dylan and Jess's involvement here? Why did they take these journals? What do they know? Why wasn't Dylan home during Aaron's murder? Like there's still way too much up in the air, and I feel like there's something going to be revealed in the finale that we have no prior knowledge of that's going to connect these things together. And then also, again, what is the point of Richard? One scene again this week, all it is just like, hey, sorry that happened to you. She's like, yeah, if we, I'm not really in a place. I got to get my shit together before we can hang out. Cool, just call me when you're ready. Bye. What is the point of that scene? And we could say, like, we could talk about Richard being some sort of like a way to kind of like tie Mare into something decent, something where she can feel like she's loved, or that she's doing something wholesome, or he's supportive of her. Something we can fashion up all of these explanations, but at the end of the day, they brought in Guy Pearce to play this role. Guy Pearce is prominently featured in the advertising, and for some reason he is just not in this show at all, and he doesn't do anything important. And I still think he is tied to this in some way. I don't think Billy is going to be on that picture. I think it's either going to be John or it's going to be Richard. So I'm still not quite on board with the Billy thing, even though not only does everything point to Billy, but he literally confessed. So, but again, I think this is all, again, more red herrings, more misdirection. I feel like John is either the one who did it or more prominently involved. I don't know, but you guys let me know what you think. And then there are a couple of bullet points that I wrote out that I'm just curious about, because these are things that the show has put out there but has not really addressed, especially when it pertains to the murders. We spend a lot of time on, here's clues as to who could have committed this murder. Here's clues as to, who didn't. Here's all these clues, right? And there's things that they have put out there that don't seem to have any kind of tie-in with the rest of the show and with the murder. And I'm curious what those things are for. So, for instance, why can't Deacon Mark stop lying? He gets, apparently, Father Dan snitched on him, and he gets called in for questioning. And he confesses like, hey, yeah, I was with her, but I didn't kill her. Yes, I had the bike. Yes, I threw it out. And the chief is like, what happened to your face? And he's like, I fell. Like, what's the point of lying about that? Like, you are being looked at for murder. So you might as well admit and continue to tell the truth, so that way they know that what happened to your face has nothing to do with the murder. Like, you got jumped by a bunch of kids who assumed that you who found out apparently that you got moved between parishes because of a child sex abuse scandal. Say that, because like at the end of the day, the murder rap for killing this kid is going to be far worse. So why lie about this? And then he doesn't even give a good lie. I fell. And the chief is just like, you know what? I don't even believe anything you're saying. Get the fuck out of here. And why would you? Like, it's a terrible lie. It's not even a creative lie. Why can't Deacon Mark stop lying? Like, for a religious guy, like, man, this guy lies a lot. I talked about Richard already. Pointless scene from him. I really don't understand Richard's presence at this point. And these questions I would like for you guys to answer in the comments if you have thoughts on them, by the way. Why has there been such a focus on Siobhan and her girlfriend, the DJ? I think her name's Ann or Anna. Why has there been such a focus on that? I'm really curious, because like they had, like, what was the point of the scene where the two of them were walking, and essentially she says that she's going to stay there instead of going away to college or something like that. And the DJ's like, we ain't been together that long, and, I don't want to hold you back here. And then she's like, yeah, I'm not, like, what if I don't leave you a choice? And it's like, oh, okay, cool, cute. They cut the scene. And then later, Siobhan is texting her. She's not responding. Calling her. She's not responding. Like, what does that lend to the story or Siobhan's character? Especially because a lot of what we seem to be getting from Siobhan's character is her grappling with Kevin's death and having discovered it. So what does this DJ girlfriend of hers have to do with anything, and why is their relationship seeming so prominent? It doesn't seem like a background thing. It seems like it's something we're supposed to be paying closer attention to. So curious about that. And the last thing, what's up with Frank and Faye? He says that, things have been weird since the paternity test, but I'm like, you aren't the kid's father. You didn't have sex with Aaron. Like, why is she leaving? Like, why did she leave him? Like, I don't, and why is that something that we are prominently being shown, but it doesn't really seem to tie in anything. So I'm curious what you guys think about the things that we're being shown that don't seem to tie into it. Do you think it's Billy, or do you just have that kind of gut feeling like I do? Like, there's still something there. I'm not quite sure it's Billy. It might be something else. I'm just not on board. If you're like me and you're just not on board, let me know why. And if you are on board with it being Billy, because several people have said this whole time they think it's Billy, and the show just told us it is Billy, why don't you feel like I can't quite put my finger on why I'm just not buying it. So if you're fully on board with Billy being the murderer, let me know too. So one more episode left, the season finale. I would recommend that you guys watch the preview for the finale, but it doesn't give you any information at all. We're gonna see Richard in it, so I saw that in the trailer, but I don't really know what else to say about it because there's not really too much information. And why would you give information in the trailer for the season finale? But I'll see you guys next week. Again, let me know in the comments what you think about whether or not it was Billy, any of the questions that I asked. What do you think about John? What do you think about Frank and Faye? All that good stuff. What do you think about the title? If you have any thoughts different from mine. And I'll see you guys next week for the season finale. I appreciate everything you guys have done, commenting, being involved, checking out these videos. So hopefully you'll continue to follow me as I cover other things. I drop like 4 or 5 videos a week. So continue to follow, subscribe, get those notifications if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace.